Hey everyone, this is Jenna Stamis coming to you from your Reading 350 class. Today I will be doing a presentation on one of my favorite childhood books called The Mitten by Jan Brett. It is a Ukrainian folktale. Basically in The Mitten, there's a little boy named Nicky who goes to his grandmother and wants her to create him some mittens for him to wear out in the snow. He wants them to be white, and his grandmother tries to get him to change his mind about the color because she knows that he's a young boy and that he's liable to get his mittens lost in the snow, and then if they're white, it would be harder for him to find. So, anyway, he ends up getting the white mittens, even though his grandmother had different ideas for him. And she says that, he can go out and play. So he goes to go play, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. This is when the story gets interesting because an animal, a mole, finds the mitten and decides that this would be a good place for him to rest from tunneling all day. And then the next animal to show up is a snowshoe rabbit, and he squeezes himself inside of the mitten. And then the next animal is the hedgehog. And as you can see, the mitten is growing larger and larger. Next thing, animal is an owl. They're all snow creatures that are trying to stay warm, so they bury themselves into the mitten, and then a badger comes along, and a fox, and so on and so forth. And then at the end, a huge bear gets into the mitten, and he sneezes, and they all pop out of the mitten. It's at that point that Nicky is on his way home, and he sees his lost mitten up in the air, and he runs and catches it, and he goes home. And when he goes home, he now has one much larger mitten than the one he started out with, as you can see. So, the culture that's represented is Ukrainian, and it is a folktale. There is his grandmother, Nicky, and all the different animals that use Nicky's mitten as a shelter. And then the style and quality of writing is pretty simple. It's easy to understand and follow along. The pictures are really nice and bright, even though it's a snowy scene most of the time. There's a lot of detail in the painting, and it is just a welcoming book to read. There are some authentic language things that I've seen when reading this. Nicky calls his grandmother Baba, and I'm assuming that that is a Ukrainian term for grandmother, one I haven't heard before. And I would think that that would be a correct term in Ukrainian. So that was that. And then I feel like the animals in the story had a good relationship because they all wanted to get in the same mitten. And so I feel like even though that there was no room left, the animals still powered through and squeezed their way into the mitten, even though the mitten was so large and there were so many animals already stuffed in. So I feel like even though that they had no room, they still made room, type of thing. And these are all types of animals that in actual reality could possibly, get into a fight or be eaten by another animal or anything like that. So that is how I feel about their relationships. And I feel like Nikki and his Baba had a pretty interesting relationship too, because it seemed like Nikki lived with his grandmother, and that even though his grandmother did not want to knit white mittens, she did anyway because she loved him. And I found that the painting just, it really did look, it looks different than what you would see in the United States. Just some of the details and the creativity with the flowers, and you can just tell that they're not from our culture. And at first, when I first looked at it, I thought maybe it looked to me like Switzerland or something. So I just thought that was really interesting, and this was a book that I have always loved because I liked how the animals found one mitten and decided that they were going to squeeze their way in regardless. And it just was a really nice story. So I hope you enjoyed my multicultural book summary and analysis. I enjoyed this class and I look forward to learning more in the future. Thanks. Bye.